Hi, and welcome to Evolutionary Consciousness. Unlock your 5D consciousness to create the age of love. I am Janet Miller, the Divine Light Activator, and this event is a one-day retreat with a 7-day encore where you get to choose from 7 different speakers each day. And we are giving you all 7 to choose from so that we can support you on your evolutionary journey of change as we choose to embark on right now. Each speaker is bringing new and enlightening knowledge, and some will bring you some experiential moments as well. All that support you right now, as this energy that we are being saturated in with is causing us to change at deep cellular levels. We are bringing you cutting edge teachings and techniques that humanity has called forth to access healing and deeper knowledge. I'm excited to have you here as we call forth these accessing this deeper knowledge as we unlock our next chapter in humanity. So here we are, we've called it in, and I'm so glad you're here for this. And we're here to serve and support you again on this new level of enlightenment that is happening right here. Today, our light leader is Ronda Renee. Having obtained all the things that she thought would bring her happiness and fulfillment, Ronda Renee still felt something was missing in her life. In search of answers, she embarked on an intense inner exploration that led her to discover her life's work, what's known now as divine navigation. Today, Ronda Renee is referred to as the modern day mystic with X-ray vision for the soul. I love that, Rhonda. Welcome, Rhonda. And I'm going to just keep talking a minute, but I didn't want to say not to say hello to you. How are you doing? So with her proprietary divine coordinates process, Rhonda identifies the specific energetic frequency of your soul and teaches you exactly how to vibrate at that unique frequency, enabling you to live, love, and work from your soul. Once this divine connection is made, clients experience fulfillment and purpose in their lives and businesses in ways they never imagined possible. So once your divine navigation is activated, there is no need to rely on outside sources, material possessions, or other people for fulfillment. It comes from within. Since 2009, Rhonda has helped thousands across the globe live a life of deep meaning, purpose, and satisfaction. And as an internationally recognized speaker, facilitator, 3 times best-selling author, Rhonda leads spiritual and industry leaders to the true success that can only be found by living and working in alignment with your soul. Welcome, Rhonda, and it is such a pleasure to have you here.
It is a pleasure. Thank you, Janet.
Yeah, and you know, your story, I mean, talking about the divine navigation, I know you said you had to go to some deep levels, and then that just kind of was appeared to you, like downloaded onto you. So what was
That's
that
a very
pivotal?
short version.
That's the real short version. But what was the pivotal moment? Like, what you want to tell a little how you led up to that, you know, and just give us the pivotal parts, like the ones that are really the
Yeah,
big moment. Yeah.
I can do that. You know, the first, I guess, activation, a word that I use a lot,
Mhm.
was having a second failed marriage. It
Ah.
was a super brief one. I actually had it annulled, but I did marry him, so it's legit in my mind. Um, and realizing that I had all the stuff, right? I was an award-winning salesperson, was making more money than I had ever thought possible. My family didn't talk about money, and I was making well over 6 figures as an employee, and had multiple houses, rental properties, 2 great kids, wonderful friends, and yet I'd ended up in this ditch again. So kind of wondering, wait a minute, I checked all the boxes you told me to check, and it all looks good from the outside, but something is amiss. And so that kind of deep dive, breadcrumb to breadcrumb to breadcrumb to breadcrumb, led me into the coaching industry, and with what I call a soul tapping. And then I was working with a client one day, and the process I was using did not work. I had an intention to create something of my own, but it hadn't happened yet. I hadn't sat down to figure it out. And this other process just didn't work. And so I just went, help. Help me out, guys. What am I doing here? She's
Mhm.
paid me. I need to give her something. What am I giving her? And the questions that now are the divine coordinates process came in that day. Now there's been some other, like, I've reordered them because there's one place where people tend to float away, and I had to put that at the end. But they're really the very same questions. And then over about a 6-month period, it taught me how it worked. I would find myself talking to a client and responding to whatever it was they said, and telling them exactly how it worked. And then this other conversation was going on in the back of my head, going, "Oh, that's how that works." It literally was.
You're
I did
learning
not
as you
sit
go.
down. Yeah, I
Yeah.
did not sit down and figure it out. It revealed itself to me, and it evolved over that time period. And I mean, I still get new insights all the time. It's slowed down because we're about to have the 10th anniversary of
Wow.
that process arriving. So
Congratulations.
it has slowed down a little bit, but it still teaches me stuff all the time. I'm the very first student of it. I do not pretend to know everything about it. I am its student.
I think that's fantastic. So do you have like a particular guide that comes through for you when it brings it in? I mean, I
Don't
haven't heard any.
experience it that way. Yeah,
You
I've
don't.
never.
Well, that's what I've thought,
Oh,
because yours is
yeah.
not that way. I
Um,
don't feel that from you when you
yeah,
talk.
I don't. I've never been a guide person. I'm lots of clairs, mostly claircognizant, clairsentient.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
somewhat clairaudient. I even have the psychic smell thing.
Yeah, I have that too. I do. I love that. That's a
I
cool
didn't know
thing.
until our mutual colleague that we both know had told me about it. I was like, "That's a thing. I have it," and so does my daughter. Because she would walk
Yeah.
around when she was looking and go, she'd crunch up her nose and go, "I smell something." It's the funniest thing.
Isn't that
Never,
interesting?
never knew it was a thing. Yeah, so I don't experience it. I don't experience it as guides. I had a healer tell me once that there was a big blue guy that where I
Ah,
got my information from, but I don't see him. I don't hear him as
yeah,
separate
yeah.
from me. But I mean, clearly years ago, early on, within the first year or so, I had a colleague, brilliant man. Some of your participants may know him, Aaron Huey, who has he does recovery for teens, right?
Mhm.
He does teen work and recovery for teens, and I did the process for him. And when we were done, he's studied all of this stuff that I haven't studied, and he said, "You've tapped into something really ancient here." And I was
Mm.
like, "I have." Okay. I mean, like, it's totally innocent. It's just it's just totally
Well,
innocent.
obviously, you probably had it in past lives. Have you ever gone into a past life regression, any of that kind of thing?
Done some of that, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. But it all looks pretty normal when I
Yeah, yeah, I understand that.
most past lives are pretty mundane.
Well, this was the big one. This was the one you were supposed to bring it through, I think. That's why it's so important.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. It's good stuff. It's amazing. It blows my mind. I'm like, why me?
But isn't it exciting? Well, you accepted it. You said you took it on. You were like, okay, you asked for it and it was delivered, and then you kept delivering it to humanity. I think that's a powerful thing, because
yeah.
so many of us and get downloaded things, and we don't do it. We're afraid, we hold back, we're in doubt. I've done a few of that, and I'm like, oh, why didn't I just do that? Because then next thing I'm seeing that again. And I just talked about this with the speaker I talked to earlier, and we said this. It's weird because you said it and then she said something like that. So we're all looking at that and going, why? Well, she said, why me? You're saying, why me? And I think that's amazing because it
Being
was meant to
available
be.
though.
You
Yeah, to your
chose to be
point.
take it on. You mastered it. You became the master of it. So
Well, we joke about that in divine navigation. I'm like, I have not mastered my divine coordinates yet. I'm still here. Like maybe the Dalai Lama, but not Rhonda.
well,
Like,
you're in the mastery. You're studying for your mastery. Like you're
I am in the mastery, but I do not connect with referring to myself as a master.
well, maybe
Yeah.
what you know what you got to do what feels right. That's what I feel. But but everyone's looking at you as a master, I think, because you are bringing it through. So we're
I may
looking.
be a little bit further along on the path, but I am still on the path with everybody else.
But that's all it takes, is to be that little bit further, because
Mhm.
then you give us what we don't have, and we get to learn through you. And that's our whole journey, isn't it? Whatever we learn, and whenever we're meant to give things, we're the next step for our students or our people that we attract. It's like
Yeah.
they need to go through what we just went through, or they're going through what we just went through. I
Hmm.
love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
so powerful, so powerful. So, that's a great story. And those blue people, when I did reconnective healing, I saw a blue person. I literally
Mhm.
saw this blue person. I was like, whoa, I don't see it a lot either, but I did see this being, and it almost looked like a statue. It almost looked like one of those Greek or Roman statues, but it was a
Mhm.
head of a man with like this curly hair. And I just saw that really quick. It was like so fast, but I still remember it to this day. And this was like
Yeah.
2000.
Mhm.
And when I went to Egypt, blue people is a very big thing because they're the guides. So you got a blue guide. I mean, it could be Metatron, it could be anybody, because I know the guides seem to be blue beings. I
I
don't know
don't.
what it is about blue, but they're in the blue. And I
That's,
just,
that's one of the things you'll find with me. There aren't, I think there are people who are well studied and well read, and I mean, I'm certainly well read in certain respects, but I
Mhm.
haven't studied a bunch of different modalities. I've certainly experienced other modalities, especially
Yeah,
self-discovery modalities, right? Because I was to create one, but I haven't studied, and I don't have a lot of, like, people pull
you
out,
don't
well,
have to. You don't have to.
I don't know.
Well, you don't have to because you have what you need to bring through. You brought it through. You're
Yeah,
on your
yeah.
path. You're on your
And in
divine path.
fact, in
You're
fact,
in
I
your divine
often
navigation here. You're in that
totally am.
whole, you're there. I love
People
it.
will people will say, have you read this or do you know that? And once this process started coming in, I actually stopped looking
Yes.
at
Yes.
most anything because I didn't want it to muddy the water. Um, so then if I hear this or that, I'm like, oh, for however long. But the beauty is
Mhm.
it's all universal truth, right? Like we're
Yes. Yes.
we're all being taken somewhere. And the cool thing is, in terms of divine navigation and someone learning their divine coordinates, the people who've done a lot of work are the ones that get the most out of divine navigation.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like, so it's bonus. It's like, cool, you did that, you did that, you did that. Let me give you this little missing piece right here. And then
Mm,
people skyrocket.
I love it. So let's talk about ascension. What do you think the purpose of ascension is? What is it all about? And what kind of power does ascension have?
Well, you and I talked about this when we were talking about me participating with you. And it's interesting that I don't publicly talk about ascension. I don't talk about 3D and 5D and things like that.
Yeah,
It's not.
and that's okay. You don't have to refer to it like that at all. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I'm just like kind of setting it up that, like, I don't talk about it, but it is actually part of all of
What you
it.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely part of the whole thing. So, what I've really, over all these years of working with people, what I've really come to understand is we actually all have the same purpose. There isn't a different purpose for everyone or
Mm,
for anyone. We all have the same purpose, and it's self mastery. And the process of self mastery is an ascension process.
yeah.
So, filtering it over my work with the divine coordinates. So you have a specific set of energies that make up the full expression of your soul. And they came into inception with the inception of your soul. They didn't happen when you were born, they happened when your soul was born.
Mm,
And they don't change. So, if we talk, I also kind of keep this behind the curtain usually, but if we have multiple lifetimes, which I can't say definitively or won't say definitively, but if we do, what I know is that your divine coordinates don't change. Your level of ascension to the expression of them
mm,
does. And so we have the opportunity to do that intentionally. We're all doing it unconsciously.
mm-hmm,
We're
mm-hmm.
all doing it unconsciously. And the thing is we can't identify our own divine coordinates because we're way too close to it,
Isn't
right?
that
We
the
really
truth?
can't see ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But so it's happening. They're playing out in these unconscious ways, but usually in ways that don't really serve you, or
Right.
they downright sabotage you. So we can be intentional about the ascension with that identification and then working our way up the ladders, if you will, of expression.
Yeah, I mean, that makes so much sense to me because that to me talks about the ones that are awake. It's like when you say they're awake, that means they're kind of aware what ascension is, what that means in their life, how is that working, and they have an idea, well, this is what I'm meant to be doing, and how am I doing? Right? It's kind of like
Yeah,
that.
and one more like tweak that I really see it through is that it's who am I meant to be being?
Right. That's even
And
better.
from there, right, because your divine coordinates are your purpose, and your purpose is a state of being. It's an energetic state of being. You
Yeah.
were sent to hold this energetic state, this frequency for the planet. You
Mm,
have your own, I have my own, our watchers have their own, right? Everyone's is different. And you were born because that frequency was needed.
hmm.
So that's how important it is for us to identify that frequency and match ourselves vibrationally to that so that we can save this friggin' planet,
Mm.
right?
Ooh,
Like
that's profound. I
things are
love
kind of
that.
dire.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. That's a huge message that people need to hear. I mean, that's so great to hear that because I mean, that's it. That's it. That's it, you know? Oh my goodness. I mean, it's the clarity of that message you just said is so perfect. It's so perfect for all of us right now because people need clarity. I don't know about you, but this Mercury retrograde we're going through right now is like kicking my butt. I'm like, what is happening here?
It's a little
I am
bumpy.
like I am like the clumsiest girl in the world right now. And I'm usually not really clumsy, but oh, it's been just like, what the heck? And just all kinds of things that I always say, oh, I don't really do that. Well, it's all happening now.
Pretty intense right
I'm
now.
like, oh
Yeah,
no,
it's pretty
what is
intense.
this all about? Is it everything's coming up now that we need to see in ourselves that we're not, we're denying or we're just pretending that it's not there? And the universe is like, here it is, boom, you really are doing that. And you just don't want to know it.
Yep, it was sometimes we gotta be kicked up the ladder, right?
Oh my gosh, it's just tough, and the energies are like everywhere, and they're so intense. I don't know. Do you feel it? Do you feel it's intense? I mean, how are you feeling right now?
It's very intense. Yeah,
Mm,
it's been very intense. And I think it will continue to be in into
yeah.
the at least through the year. Yeah.
This end of this year, 2020, and
Yeah.
we don't want to. We won't talk about 2021 till a little bit on to the talk. So I love that. So and getting further in ascension. So how do you, I mean, like you call it divine navigation. So how do you get further? Like what we talked a little. So what would you suggest? Like, what do you say to people?
Well, I mean, there are some basic things, right? If you haven't identified your divine coordinates yet, I'm sure some people watching have. But if they haven't been identified yet, there are some things that you can begin to do that will clear the way, if
Mm-hmm.
you will, to ascension. Because think of it this way: we have our soul and we have our personality.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And most of us are more familiar with our personality than our soul.
Yeah.
The number one thing that I hear from clients over the years is, I thought I knew what I was and who I was, and I actually had no idea. And
That's
that
so
is
true.
that's the
Mm-hmm.
illusion that we all live in as we move through this
Mm-hmm.
world, right? Like we know who we have been trained to be, we know who we've been beaten,
Yep.
but that does not necessarily have anything to do with who we actually are at the level of soul.
Oh, it's so true that, as you say that, I'm like, oh yeah, of course. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because that's what I'm finally getting myself. Like, who we really are. Like you said the word being earlier, like we're meant to be this being, not do this thing. We're being, like human doings is what we've all been doing, and now we're
Indeed.
starting to
Mhm.
be, right, we're starting to be now.
And that from that being will come doing, because you'll be inspired to move into action,
Right.
right? But the problem is that we all externally reference when we're really meant to be internally sourced. So I'm going to get back to where I was going, but
Yeah, go
this.
ahead, go.
So one step before that. So if you think of it as the divine coordinates, this is what part of why you can't identify your own, is because it isn't that you're necessarily being this now. It's the potentiality in your soul. And you have to cooperate and master those energies. But think about it, if you're supposed to master a certain energy, you're going to master that best when it's absent. So one of my coordinates is empowerment, and
Okay.
it's actually not a very common coordinate. Neither is freedom, love, hope, freedom, love, peace, oneness, joy. They are not usually divine coordinates
Really?
because we all experience those when we're in our divine coordinates. So I
Okay.
call them the big five that
Ah,
generally are not coordinates. I have one person who has freedom. I have one person that I let have love. It's one of the components. Today, that was a long time ago. Today, I probably wouldn't let her get away with it. One person that has oneness, right? Like it's super rare
mm,
because we need more specificity, right? Like
mhm.
we're all going to get to those things when we're playing our part. So back to one of my coordinates is empowerment. And so, how do you think I learned to be empowered, to be the source of empowerment? By being disempowered and by
Yes,
being
yes.
victimized and
Uh-huh.
by being, an enabler instead of an empowerer. Like I know this energy inside and out. I know when I'm in it, I know when I'm not in it, right? So, we learn best about an energy in its absence. And that's what our life challenges are about.
Absolutely. I can understand that. Yes, I can
And
understand.
then we learn how to become the source of it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So when we talk about how to accelerate the ascension,
Mhm.
um, there are things that are blocking the ascension, blocking your ability to be the source, and to really bring forward your soul. And there's some simple things that people can do right now, immediately. First one being, are you embodied or not?
Mm.
Most people don't live in their body. They live in their head, or they live outside of their head. And it is a complicated thing to master initially. But I teach this in my 21 Days to Energetic Success program. It's a self-study program that we have. And I've had people say that it's the primer to getting your divine coordinates,
Mhm.
but it's 21 days and people have said, oh my God, that changed my life. And it's just a teeny little lesson every single day. So I'm going to give you the first 2 days right now because they're so powerful. And you can practice it, and it will take practice. For most people, it will take practice because um, you'll pop right out again, but you'll learn how to stay there longer and longer times.
Mm.
So you want to play with me?
Yes, I would love it.
Okay. So I would say go ahead and close your eyes. I'm going to close my eyes because it's always a great reminder for me, not to just walk you through it, but to do it with you.
Mhm.
And without trying to change anything, just notice where your awareness is. So your awareness is the part of you that's watching you,
Mhm.
the part of you that you could send. You mentioned Egypt earlier. So you could send it to Egypt right now, and suddenly you see pyramids and all that stuff, right? Your
Mm.
awareness just went to Egypt. So it's separate from you. So just notice where it is.
Okay. I
Where
don't
did
even
you?
know I don't know if I got that yet. Hold on.
Okay, cool. So that can take practice, and that's okay. We've got some more steps, and that's okay. It's totally fine. It'll take practice, perhaps, and you can practice with it. So I'm feeling it for you, Janet, and I'm not sure if it's mirrored or not, but I'm feeling it over on the right-hand side, kind of to the side of your head.
Of my head. Yeah, well, I have an area I was focusing on when you said what part of you is watching you? Is that what you got? How you
Yes.
put
Where was that?
I got it in my shoulders.
Okay. Yeah, I'm feeling it over the shoulder, but I'm also feeling it kind of in the temple area. So that's
Okay.
great. Whatever, it doesn't matter where it is.
Yeah, that would make sense because I do feel my temples. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
Totally.
now what I want you to do is wherever you found it is fine. Take a couple of breaths, and as you feel comfortable, on an exhale, invite that awareness into the body. And then just notice where it lands first in the body.
Mhm. Came right into the heart, right in there, right in the center of my chest.
So now I'm going to actually have you drop it down into
Mm-hmm.
your solar plexus, which
Okay.
is going to be above your belly button and below your diaphragm. So right there in the upper abdomen.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
Are you able to move it there?
Yeah, I think so. I feel it. I feel
Cool.
grounded there. I can feel my belly.
Great. It's perfect. It's so bad. Society has told us women not to feel our bellies because they make us self-conscious about it, but that we need to feel that space. So this is the space. Just play with staying there. So the question to activate this experience is, where am I? And that has you say, okay, where is my awareness? And then I want to move it into my body. Because if you're not grounded in your solar plexus, it's like trying to drive a car from behind the headlights.
Yeah.
You're up in your head.
Okay.
You're not going to get very far.
Ah, because this is your who you meant to be. This is your personal power. This is all of who you are in this life,
Yeah.
right? Yes.
Exactly. Your divine coordinates live in the solar plexus. The
Ah,
problem is that we actually feel in our solar plexus. We don't feel in the heart. This is really a misconception.
really? I have
Mm,
never ever heard that before. That's
I
second.
know I'm a little controversial when it comes to this. So we feel in our solar plexus, right? We kind of receive here and we give from the heart. But
Ah,
if you haven't inhabited your solar plexus, you're actually giving from an empty vessel.
ooh. But that makes sense. I totally I can tell. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because
So
I think my divine coordinate would probably be empowerment as well. When you said that, I started laughing. I'm like, oh my God, that's
yeah,
totally fine.
you'd
Because
be
I know that from my own.
surprised.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. First of all, there are 5 pieces to your divine coordinates, so I
Oh,
can share
okay.
that in a minute. So
Okay.
there isn't just one. There's
All
five
right.
pieces, and they all have a specific role and
Okay.
responsibility. And if they're not coordinating and working properly, you aren't getting very far.
Okay.
So back to the solar plexus.
Hmm.
Um, what has happened for most people is that they had an experience in life that hurt. They didn't want to feel it, so I call it vacating the premises.
Yeah.
They
Disassociated.
disembodied,
Yeah.
right? Disembodied, and then they don't go back, because when you go back into the solar plexus, I will tell you, if you spend some time there, you're going to feel some stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But that's what we need you to do,
Mm.
because anything you didn't feel is still waiting there to be felt.
How
And
interesting.
you don't even have to know details. I'm not going to ask you to dredge anything up. I just need that energy to move. Right. But that starts with being willing to go there for even just a few minutes at a time.
Mm.
So, where am I is the first question. That's day one. Day two is, when am I?
When am I? Okay.
Right? I love it
Yeah.
every time. It screws the brain. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
weird question, but it's saying, am I in the past? Am I,
Ah,
fretting? Am I
okay.
replaying something? Or am
Yes.
I in the future? Am I projecting? Am I anxious? Right? So all of that stuff is not present moment. And certainly there's a ton of people talking about present moment, right? Like, be in the now and all of that. But if you're not in the body, you have no chance to be in the now.
Mm.
So embodiment first, present moment second.
Wow.
So where am I? When am I? Play with those, and then also play with how, when you're practicing staying in your solar plexus,
Mhm.
when you meet another pair of eyeballs, right? Like when someone else shows up in your space, even virtually,
Mhm. Mhm.
you might catch yourself energetically going over into their space. We do that a lot. And you want to stay in your own space. You want to stay in your body and relate to someone from your own world instead of going into theirs.
Is that like what you like in the old days? I'd say sort of like it's a courting. You're courting with somebody. Is that like courting?
I suppose it could result in a cord, but this happens in all kinds of interactions. If you haven't learned to be in your space and ground in your body, then you're going to pop out. And if, again, you cannot drive the car from behind the headlights, and you certainly can't drive it from outside the car. So if life is not progressing the way you want it to, you might not be behind the wheel.
That's a heck of a way to look at it, but it's true, isn't it? Oh my gosh. We don't realize how absent we are, do we?
So true.
Gee.
So true.
And has our world created that for us as well, or is it something that we come in like that?
No, I don't think we come in like that at all. It's life experience, and then yes, societally, so much of our world is externally referenced, right? It's how much money you make, it's what kind of car you drive. It's the more recent badge of honor is how busy you are. I mean, there's all of these external referencings.
How busy you are? Is that the new
Yeah,
one?
well, I mean, it's been for a while. How are you?
That does, I guess you're right. I didn't think of that though, but that's pretty good. That makes sense to me. The badge of honor. Yeah.
When you say, how are you? They say, I'm so busy.
Well, I do that too. And it's like, I do feel sort of like, oh, I'm really busy, but it's like, forget it. This busy is like self-imposed too.
Yeah, exactly. Well, but when you get into your body, time changes.
Ah,
Like, so here's another fun story for you. This was years ago. I was actually still in sales, and I was in outside sales. So I stopped at a store real quick before rushing back to the house for an appointment or something. And I stopped at the store. I'm running through to get it through a few things. And I realized that I'm like leaning forward and pushing my cart and, like this weird thing. And I realized that my awareness is like 2 feet out in front of me. And I thought, no wonder I'm always rushing. I'm chasing myself. I'm trying to catch up with myself. And she's out there. So instead, I brought my awareness back and my whole body like leaned back. My pace changed. I still had the same awareness of time, right? Like the time hadn't changed in the sense that I still had somewhere to be at a certain time, but I no longer needed to rush. I just moved through the moment. So it's really fun to play with. And that's one piece that if you're not in your body, ascension is going to be hard. Because here's the thing, ascension is not about leaving the physical to go there. Right?
no,
That's a
and
huge
that's true. Yeah, that's right. And that's what the original thinking was. People
right.
thought that was the way.
Transcend, let's get out of here. And you're missing the point. You wouldn't have been given a body if you weren't supposed to use it, if it didn't have a purpose and a role.
Mhm.
So being in the body, and then any repressed, suppressed, or unfelt emotions are also in the way of your ascension. If you want to accelerate your ascension, learn how to feel. If you want to learn how to feel, you got to get in the body and pay attention to the sensations of the body. You won't feel unless you're in your solar plexus area.
Wow.
You can inhabit other places too, but you got to inhabit that place. And then the beauty is it's like this great foundation that the heart then gets to rest on. And then that's where you're giving from.
It's like the altar. It's like I saw an altar. As soon as you said that, I'm like, oh, how interesting.
An altar?
I see that altar is beautiful. I have a little one on the side here.
Yes, it's much like an altar.
I know. And
altar of your soul. Yeah.
that's so great. That's so great. I mean, I had an experience sort of like that last night. I was totally stressed out about all kinds of things coming up. And I was so out of my body. I was just not able to keep up. And when you said you were like 2 feet ahead of yourself, as soon as you said that, I saw myself there last night, and I didn't realize that's what I was doing. But now that you say it, I see it. Yeah. And I finally said, stop. You need to stop. And I stopped and I said, breathe. And you've got to breathe, calm yourself down. I said to myself, get back in your body.
See, we know instinctively.
Isn't that incredible? And now that you're saying this, I'm like, oh, I did that. How good. All right, you did that part. But as soon as I got back in my body, I felt better.
Yeah.
Just like what you said, you relaxed. I relaxed. Mm-hmm. The stress fell away, and I made a decision that I wasn't going to do this and I was going to do that. And as soon as I made a decision and I relaxed and I listened to my body went, oh, thank God.
Yeah, it's amazing. Here's another fun one for you, because, I know there's a lot of pieces and parts to putting on something amazing like this. So this is way back from my Transform Your To-Do List days, which was my first group coaching program I ever created. It's still available. I just don't give it live because I was a single mom, worked 60, 70 hours a week in my sales career. And people used to always ask, how are you doing all that? And I was like, I don't know, I'm just doing it. And then when I was out of it, I could see some of the things. And secret, it's energy management. It's not time management, right?
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
self-management and energy management. But overwhelm only occurs when you're envisioning a future in which you've already failed.
Oh, oh, you got that right, because that's what's happening to me. In another vision of something else I'm looking at.
So, and if you think you're not going to make it, right, then you're going to get overwhelmed by that. So it's only when you're
That's
projecting in the future.
exactly what I've been thinking. Oh,
So
you just
back
helped me
to
clear.
where am I? Where am I? When am I? That's what I'm saying. Those two things are universally applicable,
Oh,
really,
wow.
across the board. So use those, use those, use those.
You
Yeah,
know,
for
as I
sure.
say, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Well, here you are. You're teaching me all this that I wasn't even aware of, just in these moments that, oh my goodness, this is so powerful. It's like so empowering, actually. It's very empowering what you're saying.
Then I'm doing my job.
Yeah, it's very
Because the other thing about the divine coordinates is that they tell us what you do, how you do it, and why you do it. And I'm not talking about the whys that are so tritely tossed around,
mm,
like I'm
mm,
doing it for my kids or so I can none of those, right?
right.
Those are all external things. But what is your soul's motivation? What's the experience that your soul wants you to have? Because your soul only cares about experiences. It does not care about achievement or acquisition at all. It's not relevant to the soul.
So that's what you mean when you talk about once you get your divine navigation in alignment, you don't need any of those external things.
Nope.
Oh, I was trying to figure that out. Now I understand what you're saying. Oh my goodness.
Most people are, if you want this or you want to be in a relationship with that person or all of those things are usually just externals we think that's going to soothe, it's going to be the soothing balm, right, for the soul ache that we have, for to fill the hole where your soul belongs. Nothing
Right.
else will fill that.
Yes.
Only your soul will fill that.
You know, that's so perfect that you're saying that, because I think right now at this whole time with all of us going through the COVID challenge that we're in, and in a way it's a gift in so many ways. That's how I see it, because it's forcing us to do just what you're telling us. If we're doing it, if we're really
Some of
taking
us.
advantage of it, if we're taking advantage of it. So
Yeah.
that's why something like this is so great, when we can bring this to people and they have the time, like, they may be working from home and they say, oh, I just saw that email. Maybe I'll click in and, watch that. It might be really good. So you're hoping, okay, this is good, because
Yep.
this is our service work. And for me, this is service work. And I know for you, it's totally service work. And,
Mhm.
and since I've gotten really immersed in it since the COVID, like in a whole new way, that I am so satiated by a lot of it. I don't need to go running out and buying clothes or whatever else I used to do, or, go out to lunch at my girlfriend's. I could care less. I mean, I really kind of feel bad. You've got to kind of push yourself out in society, because you get yourself so involved in what you're doing as a service person, bringing this to people, because it's just your soul is telling you this is what you're meant to do, and this is what you choose to, and you love doing it, right? So it's effortless in a lot of ways, even though it takes work, but it's effortless in
Mhm.
other ways, that you don't mind letting go of the rest of the stuff that you used to think was so important.
Yeah, and I think definitely people are having that experience. I mean, when you are in your divine coordinates, like I said, then the doing is going to show up. You're going to have an inspiration. You're going to
Right,
have a
right,
drive.
right.
You're going to be fueled by that, where it's so easy to run out of fuel if you're pushing in a direction of an ego goal.
Wow.
But when you've got something that your soul has set its sights on, then it's easy to stay up late and work on it, and keep going when it doesn't make sense maybe to anybody else why you're going to keep going, and things
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of course that goes into that. There's it might be interesting to also share when we're talking about ascension. I've got a little prop back here.
Okay.
um the pyramid, and you mentioned Egypt.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the crystal pyramid that one of my clients brought me from Mount Shasta. Um,
Beautiful.
and so the divine coordinates are much like a pyramid. And actually, let me share this little guy right here, little visual aid for people.
Oh, this is fantastic.
So I wanted to show you the physical pyramid because I want you to look at the very center. That's our
Okay.
sacred symbol back there of other people might call it a logo, but believe me, every piece of this means something. And it
Mhm.
took me a long time to find a designer who could put all these elements into this beautiful symbol. And I think I'm the first person that ever tattooed a logo she designed on my body.
Okay. Well, maybe you meant to
It's
because you're,
it's it's caught on since then. But so the very center is the pyramid.
uh,
And
yeah, I see
so
it.
each of the directional coordinates is one of these points, right?
Hmm.
At the base of the pyramid.
Yeah.
So say I'm going to do this in reverse. I think this would then be, are you seeing this on the left when I'm touching this here? Are you seeing that as the left or the right
The left.
where I'm tapping? Okay, good. So it's my right. So I wanted to make sure. So
Yeah.
this would be the west.
Yep.
Okay. You can see in this visual aid that that is the direction of the heart.
Hmm.
That's your feelings and emotions. And this energy, whatever you have in the west, is also the way that you show love and feel love. The problem is we're so blocked here that even when the love is coming at us in that energy, we're actually blocking it.
Mm.
We actually can't receive it. So I'll come back to that.
Yep.
Anyway, so each of these is one of the directional coordinates. And in each of them, there's a gradient of energy. We call it the spectrum. So it's like a ladder. I mentioned the ladder before. So from the very top, and so let's say that oh, I wish I should have had gotten someone's spectrum. Let's say that the top, the energy is embrace, and then this wouldn't probably be accurate, but just for simplicity, and the bottom is abandonment
Okay. So
or
you're saying
isolation.
north and south, the north and
No,
the,
we're just looking at the west. So
oh, the west. Okay.
in the west, there is an energy. Let's say it's embrace, and then there's a gradient of embrace
Oh,
all
okay.
the way
Okay.
down to its
Got
absence. So
it.
let's say that's isolation. That's more that fits better.
I
Everyone's
see what you're
spectrum
saying.
is
I see.
different.
Yeah.
So as we're climbing up the ladder towards embrace, we're actually ascending the pyramid.
Oh.
And we're doing that in each of the four directions. So each of those energies has their own ladder, and then they all meet at the point in the center.
Mm.
So the process, let me actually share this one. When you're activating your divine coordinates, do you see these numbers? One,
Yep.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Hmm.
So that's the order that they fire in. That's the order they activate in. So each of the four directional coordinates stands for something. And as they activate and you reach the peak of the pyramid, then you have full soul expression. That is the divine coordinate itself.
Wow.
Now, here's where ascension comes in. So that is a level of ascension because you
Okay.
have to go west to east to south to north to get full soul expression.
So you've got to go the pattern across,
Yep.
down, and up. Oh,
Exactly.
okay.
West, east, south, north. And there's work to be done in each of those areas in order to make that happen. And then you reach the actual full soul expression. But there's more. That would be an ascension in and of itself because you're ascending the pyramid. However, you do that, and then you have another pyramid you're going to find sitting on top of that.
Really?
And you're going to go through it again at another level.
Oh.
And then you're going to go through it again at another level.
So are these
So
deeper levels every time?
deeper or higher, depending on how you look at it. We're
Okay, I
ascending,
see.
so let's call them higher. We're going higher on the spectrum. We're going to a higher level of soul expression. So we like
Oh,
to
so your
joke.
soul is becoming more, you're embodying your soul even more as you go higher.
Yes, you're
Okay.
your fuller expression of who you
Of
are.
your soul. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So we like to joke around here at Divine Navigation that the stairway to heaven is actually built out of pyramids.
That's what I was visualizing. I'm like, this, I've never seen that. Oh my goodness,
Oh,
that's such a cool, I love the pyramid. That's one of my favorite symbols.
yes.
Always has been. And
Connected
I
to the
love that.
pyramids. I'm gonna go back and say a couple things if it's okay
Yeah,
about so people can
absolutely.
understand because I know it's a weird conceptually with it and frankly you can't grasp this completely until you have had yours identified, right?
Oh,
And then it becomes personal. Then you're like, oh, I get it.
yeah.
So, I wish I had one that had the numbers, and I don't think I can show them both at the same time. So the West is the heart. I already mentioned that one, and that's the place where we have our greatest wounding. All of us, no matter what it is that you have, energetically, whatever energy is in that
Yeah.
direction, that is the place of greatest wounding. So there's some stuff to do there, right? And so that's the place that's basically holding our ascension back, all of us.
Yeah.
Because when you've solved some of that, when you've healed that, you have more access to a different level of mind in the East, right? And this isn't like thinking brain, this is consciousness, awareness, and it's really the way that you view the world.
Yeah, and what I'm thinking is you're so self-absorbed when you're in that kind of situation because the whole everything's about you. You cannot, I remember because I was there and I understand it when as you're talking about it, I'm like, okay, I get that because until I could heal parts of my heart that was so wounded, I could not look at the views of the world. I didn't care. Who
Yeah.
cares, you know?
Yeah, and when you're in survival, you certainly can't be
Yeah,
creative, right?
exactly.
And the personality is very self-absorbed, right?
Mm, mhm.
The soul is self-absorbed in a different way that ends up being of service to humanity, but that's
Yes,
too
yes.
complicated to get into
That
right now.
no, that's the big universal part of us that we're meant to do. Yeah, yeah, I get that.
So then we can come into the South in a new way. That's our step 3, if you will.
Mhm.
That is the more physical direction. That is action. That's manifestation. It's your approach to the world. It's like when we also each of the directions governs a different kind of relationship.
Okay.
So the South would be more work oriented,
Yep,
like
yep.
how you work. Like I have empowerment in the South. I always worked best alone. Like my job, the only job I ever had for more than 2 years, I had for 11 years, and I was required to have an office at home and work alone. I was in heaven. Like I
Perfect job.
thrived. I thrived in that. I set my own schedule. I was really my own boss inside of an organization, right? So someone with empowerment in the South needs autonomy, that kind of thing. The
I
trick
love,
here,
but I love that you manifested that too. It's in there too. Manifestation is there. I think, well, you manifested that exactly what you wanted and needed.
didn't know at the time, right?
Right.
That's
I
what I was
love it.
doing. Yeah,
Yeah.
with unconscious. But there were still plenty of places in my life that I was disempowered, but I happened to get that one. You could say dropped in my lap, but never really like that. The thing you want to know about the South is that most of us are taking action in order to get that energy. Of course, we don't realize we're doing that.
Mhm.
When the way that it actually works is that we need to come from that energy. So, as an example, if I take an action because I think it's going to make me feel empowered, it's actually short lived and it's going to be probably the wrong action. Instead, when I come from the place of empowerment, the actions I choose are going to be different.
Yes.
Like,
Yes. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah. Just like
So,
overwhelm. When you say when you come into overwhelm, then you've already seen failure. Where if you come into self-empowerment, then you're going to do it no matter what. You're going to get through whatever the bumps bring to you, but you'll get through it, right?
potentially, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Quick
Yeah,
talk.
again, it depends on what each individual has as an energy in the South.
Okay.
Mine's empowerment, someone else is inspiration, someone
Ah,
else is awakening,
yeah.
someone else is alignment. I mean, they're all different.
Okay.
Everyone's are different.
That's so,
Everyone's different. Yeah.
yeah.
So then you can get to the north, which is the connection to source. It is that direct hookup, if you will, and it tends to be your highest ideal for the world, right? Like what is it you're holding people to, if you will? And so mine's truth. And so that creates a lot of trouble,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
frankly. But,
Yep.
and then the whole point is the center, the divine coordinate in the center is when all four of those energies are working and coordinating and in their proper roles, right? Because they get all up in each other's business, or you're bypassing the West, right? Like they're dysfunctioning. When they're functioning properly, then you get to reach the divine coordinate, which is when I like to say your soul is in the house, right? And that's the world you're really here to help create. But you have to go through the four directional energies, whatever you're inspired. You cannot get to this peak of ascension without those. You have to go through those pathways. So they are your map to
Yeah.
ascension.
Map. Absolutely.
They are
Yeah.
the map to ascension.
That is so
Yeah.
amazing. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
It's a little complicated. I don't normally share that much detail, but in
It was
order to
amazing.
explain,
Yeah.
that it's an ascension process, I really,
It's
really
really
do.
wonderful. It's a whole nother way. I could see where that friend of yours said it was ancient because it makes sense, because you're looking at it almost like the opposite of the way that we look at everything.
Almost everything.
It's like you've totally undone the whole thing. It's like everything we're doing is not correct at all. And it's okay. But this
Yeah.
is what they say. We're living in an illusion. And so you're literally unveiling the illusion and saying, this is really the way to do it. And that's what
Right.
we said we're going back to, is the ancient ways. So I'm thinking,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, no wonder
Right.
it's ancient, because it's the truth. You're in the truth. No wonder your coordinate was truth, because you're in the
Yes.
truth of what we're meant to be at. This is what we're meant to do.
Yep. And
Wow.
I didn't, because now that people are experiencing me in this way, let me see if I can get them all on one image. Let me just show you this real quick. I'll show you my coordinates because
How
it's
cool.
because of the fact of what you just said. So here's
Ah,
how it works when you're giving it to someone else.
yes.
So
Oh, it's gorgeous. It's such a beautiful symbol too. I love that symbol. I
it's,
can feel that energy.
yeah, she's amazing. She did
Just
a great
gorgeous.
job. So I empower
Mhm.
truth through authenticity and possibility,
Yeah.
recognizing potential.
It's so pure. It's very pure. And with all that stuff you talked about, look at how simple and pure this is. It's amazing.
It becomes simple and pure, but it's very layered.
Oh yeah. Oh, no
And
kidding.
yeah, you're like, no kidding, I can tell. And it's really holographic, right? When we talk about 3D, 5D, right? Here's another little fun thing about 3D is that 3D usually means that we're only doing 3 of our energies and there are 5 of them.
Oh, that's why we have to get to 5D. That's no joke now. So now you've got a reason to say this is 5D. You're totally 5D or more.
We can have this conversation. I probably won't add it to the language, but to the
No,
regular
you
language. But
just said it in such an easily identifiable way that,
yeah,
you don't have
yeah.
to call this that. Yours is just an ancient ancient truth. It's an
There's
ancient.
5 pieces, so it is 5D. So this is a way for the world to get to 5D for sure.
Mm,
It's an access point. Yeah.
absolutely. Oh my goodness, it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
So while we're looking, before I get rid of it, so as I was mentioning earlier, because if anybody is wondering how to translate their purpose, remember I said your
Yeah.
purpose is not a project or a mission. It's
Can I
definitely
take a
not a
picture? Do you
business.
mind if I take a picture? I love pictures of things like this. Do you
Oh,
mind?
right ahead. I can also send you any
I
of these
love
if
the
you want.
energy of it. I just love the energy of it. It's so beautiful. Okay. Thank you.
So, oh, I completely forgot what I was going to say.
Oh,
That is unusual.
I apologize. I got in the way.
No, it's not. It's not. Oh, I remember now. So your purpose is not a project. It's not a mission. It's definitely not a business. And we often want to know, what do I do? So my purpose is this. It is to be this energy. So it doesn't matter. I mean, frankly, I joke about the fact that I just need to be paid often enough, but truly, wherever I go, truth will be empowered. And so sometimes people get really uncomfortable in my presence because they're hiding something, because they're being inauthentic,
Ah,
because they don't want to be made aware of how disempowered they are, because they're lying, right? Like, it just, I can disturb people without saying a word.
oh, that's
because
yep.
because I'm being my purpose, right? And
Oh,
so then when you do want to translate that, though, if someone wants to translate that into a business, the north and the south directions are the what you do. So what I do is empower truth. Period. End of sentence.
mm,
How I do it is through authenticity and possibility. So I bring people to their authenticity and show them what's possible from that authenticity. And the motivation of my soul is because I can see the potential in people. I recognize potential, and I'm driven by that, is to get other people to also see their potential.
that's an amazing gift to be bringing out yourself and bringing to people. I mean, that's like the best thing in the world, isn't it?
It is the best.
I know it is.
I'm the luckiest girl in the world, I feel
It
like.
is. It's like you can't get a better job than that.
It's a good thing too, because I'm completely unemployable at this point.
Don't have to. You're meant to work alone. You're meant to do it the way you're doing it with your
Yeah.
community.
Oh,
The way
I have an amazing team though. Let
oh,
think
you
I do this
do.
all by
I mean, you're
myself.
not alone, but you
Yeah.
know, as you said, you
Yes.
love that way of, connecting, but
Yeah.
you've got your foundation, you've got all your, your support. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Wow, that was so powerful. I'm blown away. I really am, because I didn't understand divine navigation at all. And when you try to look into things about it, you get nothing. And
So
I'm like, I'm
can I
doing
tell you
this
why?
for a reason. This is for a reason.
You're like, this is why I had to get her interviewed so I could find out something.
Well, I didn't know what was going to come in. I feel so honored. Thank you for sharing that, because it's beautiful, and it's such amazing information. It's like, oh, I want to go do that now.
Mhm. Well,
Because,
so what I was going to say, the reason it is kind of funny because, you can't just click and buy
oh
and
no,
get into our
no.
programs. It's really important. And people, I mean, I get messages saying, I had a dream about you last night. It's time, like, so that's divine timing is a thing. It's
Mm,
terribly important.
mhm.
It's something that I take very seriously to make sure that it is a proper fit for people, because this is deep work.
Oh yeah. And I love deep. You can give me deep work any day. That's my soul work, is deep work.
Me too. Me too. Me too. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's, the timing. I mean, I've had people say, if you change the name, more people might like it or whatever. And I'm like, I
No,
can't water
the
it. I can't
name.
water it down.
I love the name. You can't,
It is what it is.
that's the most significant name. I mean, for anything I've heard, because it's an ancient name. I mean, navigation is what the ancients did. They got around everywhere by navigation. And look at, you're doing the divine navigation. I mean, seriously. And did that just drop in, that name? Did that just come out of?
Oh, that's another funny story. It actually had a different name when I started. I won't go too down that rabbit hole. I mean, it's not a secret,
Those
but
are
I
fun stories. Those are
take up
great
time.
stories.
But I needed to change it for several reasons. One of which is that there was a Quaker minister that had written a book with the same name of what it was called before. And I just got tired of people finding the book and going, "Are you Quaker?" No. So even though I owned the trademark on it, we owned the trademark on it, I abandoned that name. And what was funny is I kept trying to figure out a new name and I couldn't. Like
Mhm,
when I was trying, I couldn't find a new name because I
mhm.
was still trying to hold on to the other one. And
Yes.
when I let that go, the new one dropped in like that and the URL was available. And I'm going,
Oh,
it's possible. It happens with my business clients all the time. We come up with something amazing and the URL is available. We're like, okay, that was meant to be.
that's
Like all the URLs are taken, right? Nope.
I love that. I love that. I know
Yeah.
that makes so much sense because when I started my first show, and this is a retreat, so it's a in light, it came through because I wanted to own mine and I wanted to do it through self-love, which I was learning to love who I am. I mean, that's been my whole world, like you talk about authenticity and
Mhm.
all that, and empowerment and truth. I mean, honestly, those are all the things that I totally resonate with. And possibility, like I didn't know about possibility until the last, I would say 10 years. I didn't really believe there was possibility. And
Mm.
now it's like it's unlimited possibility.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. I'm like, oh my goodness. It's so powerful what you just shared. I just loved it. I just loved it. So thank you so much for that. Um, it was just, I hope everyone just enjoyed this so much because it was very empowering. And just those two questions that you gave us, and I tried to write them down.
Where am I?
Where am I and when am I? Oh my goodness. That was like past, present, and you're not present when you're past or future, obviously. But
Correct.
where am I? And that was powerful. I'm gonna do that because I was doing something similar to that, but I didn't quite get it either. But when you said it, I like stuck. I'm like, oh, I know what she's talking about. I get it.
Mhm.
And when you
I
did that
hear that a
exercise,
lot too.
pardon me?
I hear that a lot too. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you said it like that. Now I get it. I've never heard it like that before.
Your
Now I
way
get
of
it.
expressing and explaining a really kind of difficult concept, I would say, quite a difficult concept to get that simply expressed is not you do an amazing job because I was like, wow, that she could just say all that. It's big. It's big. It's powerful. It's powerful that you do that, and we are grateful that you're bringing that to us because this is what we need right now. This is all that we need to know is how to divinely navigate who we are and to get to that point, to get to our divine navigation.
Divinely navigate this world so that we can end up somewhere better.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So one final question before I ask for you about your little gift, but what do you have a message for 2021? Something particular that you think we need to know coming up?
What's coming up for me is I do an energetic forecast every
Mhm,
year.
mhm, that's
I have a free event at New Year's every year, and do the forecast as part of that. And 2020, I called the new foundation for your destiny.
mm,
And at first, I called it foundation for your destiny. And about a month or so in, I started saying new foundation, not
mm.
obviously having any idea,
Yeah,
what was going to
no, not too
occur.
many. Nobody did that I know of.
No, no, but as the year has progressed, and I'm getting to 2021 here, as the year has progressed, it kind of dawned on me, oh, well, if you're going to have a new foundation, you got to topple the old one,
Yeah.
right? Like things have to get shaken up. They have to be demolished and shored up in the right places so that you can build on top of that.
Absolutely.
So as hopefully a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, to know that this is leading us somewhere. I don't pretend to be able to say exactly where it's leading us, but this whole 2020 is about taking us to the new foundation for our destiny. Now, the other thing about when I name the years, it isn't like, okay, that started in January. No, it's a process we're all going through.
Mhm.
And we're going to get to that. And we'll be lucky if it culminates at the completion of 2020. But there is somewhere new we're going. And what I absolutely know is that it's going to take each one of us stepping into our souls, identifying who we actually are, not who we think that we should be, who someone else wants us to be, who society says that we have to be, but to really anchor into our souls and live, love, and work from that place. That is when the world will change. It's the only way the world will change. It isn't changed by some big global thing happening out there. It happens by each one of us having that shift and stepping into our own frequency, that the world begins to take on the frequency it was designed to have.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the new earth we're creating, isn't it? Ooh, Yeah, that's a beautiful message. Thank you. That was powerful. Well, I have to listen to it a few times now because it was good. It was really good. And I saw this on your site. Let your future pull you forward so your past doesn't pull you down. I love that. I had to copy it. I said that is so great. And it makes so much sense because that's what we're doing. It's
Yeah.
exactly what we're doing right now,
That's
right?
what we're up to. And that actually comes from my Overcoming the Challenges of Change book that I released this year.
Yes, and yes, here I just got a little thing,
Oh,
overcome change. There it is. And you got 5 stars, timely, relevant, practical, and deep. This little book is thought provoking and comforting at the same time. This book is a great guide for that introspection and conversation. So, for anyone that's listening, this is the book to
yeah, that's from
get. And
Amazon.
it's called,
Yeah, you can't really see the picture there. I probably can get one
I know,
really.
if you have one in front of you, you can
I
grab
can
it.
get one. I
This
can
is the
get one,
book.
I'm
This
sure.
is the book right here. But I went on, I was looking for it on Amazon, but is it on Amazon?
Yes, it's on Amazon. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, it's on Amazon, guys. So
Yeah,
it's
definitely on
called
Amazon. I can actually.
Overcoming the Challenges of Change.
Yeah, and I don't. Sometimes you have to put in all of the words.
I
You
thought
know,
I
like
put it all in, but I wasn't getting anything. It was not taking me directly there. I looked on Amazon and I'm like, well, it has to
yep,
be there.
it is. It's totally there. Here you go. There it is.
Ah, look at that, everyone.
Yep.
Overcoming the Challenges of Change, Spiritual Self-Help Guide. This is kind of going to get you on the road to your divine navigation, right?
Well, this is a different process that I
Okay.
created in 2014. It's called the ADAPT formula. So
Ah,
it's about how to move through any change with grace and
okay.
ease. Because I mean, literally, I was in the midst of writing another book, and I decided to release this one instead. I stopped everything, wrote this book in a month,
Wow.
about like just your soul driving you. It's not like I cleared my calendar for a month and wrote the book. I had my regular calendar and I wrote the book.
Wow.
So it was because 2020 needed it. That's why.
Yeah, your soul was guiding you. So
Yep,
it
it
was
was. It was.
a work of love. It was a work of love. So, and
Absolutely.
I know you have a wonderful gift to offer to the group. And can you tell us a little about it? You tell,
Yeah, I
yeah.
I'm actually really excited about it. I have to say, because we don't usually do this, and I talked to my team about it, and this is what, again, I just I my joke is my job is to listen and obey, which is something with a girl with empowerment in her south, because of the way empowerment used to run, nobody could tell me what to do. And so to have me say the words, my job is to listen and obey, shows such mastery.
There you go. There
Listening to
you
my
go.
soul. So I'm calling this an ascension activation.
Mm,
Um, and what we've done is we have it's a mini training that is going to help you start to activate the energy in the West, your divine coordinate energy in the
all right.
West,
Yeah.
even though you don't know the name of it yet, right? And we're going to do that. Should I tell you how we're going to do that? I'm not even going to tell you how we're going to do that. It's a little like 15, it's like 15 or 20 minutes long. It's a training. I'm going to take you through a process, and you're going to have something at the end of that. And when you submit your answer, when you actually do that 15, 20 minute and you send me your answer, we're going to draw after the whole replay time is done. We're going to draw four. I used my pendulum to decide that. We're going to draw four names out of that randomly of everyone who submitted to get a free Divine Next Step session with me.
Wow.
And so during the Divine Next Step session, you'll be able to see what area of life you're wanting to create a shift in, what's keeping you from being able to create that shift. I don't sell individual sessions per se,
Mm,
but these Divine Next Step sessions are, you also have to have a Divine Next Step session in order to enter our program, but you are going to walk away with huge value, and you're going to know exactly what your next step is. Doesn't mean that it has anything to do with our programs, but you're going to know what your next step is. I get testimonials from people who don't join our programs who have those sessions.
Wow.
So yeah, so we're going to give 4 of those away, and those are worth $297.
Ooh, thank you so much. Oh, that is amazing. That is really a beautiful gift. Thank you. Hey guys, you better step in there if you're ready to do this work and get it, climb up that ladder of ascension and be divine, get to your divine navigation. I mean, to find some of the steps to get you there. This is a great
This
way.
is a great place to start. At least get that 15, do that 15, 20-minute training. It's somewhere in there. It's not that long, but it is a quite a powerful piece of information that you will walk
I'm
away
going to
with.
do it. I'm in. I'm
Yeah.
definitely in because this work is just, it's priceless. There's no price on it because if you're doing this work and you're looking for what your soul purpose is, what I might call that, you call it divine navigation, is is absolutely priceless because it
Agreed.
shifts your whole life. It shifts your whole life. It's powerful. Thank you. Thank you. And did you have something else?
That's it. I mean, it'll all be
Oh,
in there
that's
together.
right. That was it.
Yep. So you have the link
Yes,
that
I
you
do.
give
And
them,
everything
and
on this email, and when we go out, they'll have this after they, they watch the interview, the session. I mean, it was such a great session. Thank you again.
yeah, you
And
just sign up, and then you'll get a little form to fill out, and you'll get the training, and then you send me an email with your answer after you're done. And
well, this is a wonderful gift. So everyone, take advantage of it because this doesn't happen often, as you've heard, and you've got to take advantage of these things. This is like, there's no coincidences when these things come up. So if you're feeling called, do it. Just do it. And I just want to thank the audience for being here because I'm going to salute the audience for being the brave way showers and path makers that they are, creating the new earth and coming on and learning these things and being open to new learning and understanding. And we would love you to send comments and to give us any takeaways, and I will send them on to Rhonda, and whatever, if you want to send it to Rhonda directly, you can do that too. So you have all her information. And Rhonda, you are just an amazing divine navigator. I mean, I don't even know what, that's the only thing I can call you, like this amazing um, steerer of the stars, but it's like that inner star, that inner glow that you're steering us towards to connect to that divine glow. And it's just so powerful. So thank you for that. And it was a great session. Thank you. Thank you. And so grateful for the work that you brought through and that you listened, and look at what you're giving us, this ancient teaching. So you're the ancient navigator, divine, how do you say ancient? I don't know how to say it. Ancient, divine, ancient navigator, because you're bringing, it's actually the new ancient. Is there such a word? We could change it. We could coin it, right? There's always new words coming up. But anyway, I want to just say thank you again. And I am Janet Miller, and I welcome you all to our evolution.